game. In my mind, they saying they can remember your name. If they love you, it's cool. Give them a reason to hate you. I ain't chasing the fame. You gonna remember my name.
Hello everybody. How are we doing today? Yes, you only can see my face today because my Wi-Fi still is not working properly. So, um, y'all just gonna get this little cute image, and that's it. I'm gonna change my picture next week. Anyhow, ways, I hope everybody had a good day. I hope it's getting cold outside, so I hope y'all bundling up. I just got home from work, so please, yeah, there's a lot of people coming in with flu and COVID. So please, y'all, make sure y'all doing what y'all need to do to be safe and not get sick. And we are going to get this party started very quickly, starting with Mr. Roshan Davis. Bring him to the forefront. Bring him to the forefront.
Yeah, I got my scarf. See me? I got my scarf. I'm ready.
You're going to need more than a scarf. You better put a scarf, mask, gloves. So I'm telling you, this is some nasty business.
Yeah. It's out there. The hawk is out there. It's winter. Summer's over. It's time for me to get on a plane and head on down to Florida or Bahamas or Jamaica or something, because it's a little cold out there. So
It's I'm telling you, I ain't seen we getting swamped with flu and COVID and the icky dicky messages. It's just not right.
yeah, I get it.
But it's all good. Hey Carla, I'm just letting everybody out here know, especially the older people, please, y'all. If y'all gotta put the mask on, put them on. Cause these some nasty tassies out here.
All right, get my boy out here.
Don't rush me. Don't rush my process. Yeah, Sean and Derek be having their little Mel Bonza moments in the comments. They get on my nerves, the both of them. Any old way. Let's bring out our newlywed, because he gonna be a newlywed for a while, y'all. So we gonna bring out our newlywed, Mr. Deacon.
All right now. So first thing I'm gonna say is public service announcement. Kyra is using Patterson Public Schools' Wi-Fi because she close to so we starting to GoFundMe so we can pay so she can have her own Wi-Fi. That's what.
Oh God, that was a good one. I wish I could use somebody else's Wi-Fi so I could take one of these damn bills away.
So Roshona's gonna start it off with 200. I'm gonna follow up with 2. So we already raised $202. So
yeah, my nerves.
We want all our listeners to dig deep. I know it's hot. I know it's Christmas season, but dig deep, right? We just passed today was Give Tuesday. So we want you to give so that we can get Kyra's pretty little face back on this screen and she can have Wi-Fi. We don't need her to have cable because that's for all that's their own business. I ain't got nothing to do with the rest of the family. I'm talking about getting Kyra here so we can produce this show at the level and at the rate that we've been producing it in the past.
I say she called that sisterhood that she always calling on. I got $1.
I do have a beef with Mr. Roshan Davis. Your little comment that you made about me saying that's like me saying not all men or women when you and Derek was having your little male bonding moment in the comment section. Excuse you?
So that was you that commented.
It was me.
How many pages you got?
7.
See,
You
there you go.
got 3 burner accounts.
I thought that was somebody else.
Ain't nobody else got my name but me. When you see that Davis, that's me.
I thought that was somebody else. If you read my comment after that, I thought it was somebody else.
That was me. That was my page. I said, oh, they sitting up here wanna bring my name up and stuff. Hold up.
No. Derek hit me with a generic comment, kind of, and I just was like, it's when you make your little comments of not all the time. Of course, it's not all the time.
No, I said to a certain degree. I said to a certain extent.
No. I was talking about how she normally say.
Right.
I mean, not everybody.
Statement, but yeah, you're absolutely right.
Not everybody. Of course, it's not everybody.
Right. But on another public service announcement before we get started, be careful. Like she said, be careful with the flu and COVID. COVID is out here and it's exposing people. People getting COVID and losing their whole relationships because if you got COVID but your husband or wife didn't get it, they definitely question who you was around. So wrap it up. Either way.
Wrap it up. Because COVID is in your other. Okay, my bad. I'm sorry.
I said either way. Let's wrap it up.
You know what, Terry?
I'm just being honest. COVID is down as an STD as well.
Wrap it up.
Oh my goodness. I can't with these men's on this podcast. I can't do it. All right, everybody. Today's topic is no contact within families. This is like, I'm not even gonna call it a trend because I don't think it's a trend. I don't think this is something that I personally don't think that everybody should be following. But it was something where I was watching Carl is stupid. I don't think I was watching I'm always on YouTube, so I was watching Oprah new podcast. Everybody was talking about Oprah's new podcast show. So me being me, I was being nosy. I went on there and I seen it and I saw this little growing trend of where they say people are having no contact with adult children, are not having contact with their parents, and parents are choosing to have no contact with their children. Which I thought was kind of interesting, and it's a whole podcast thing. If y'all really want to see the whole podcast, y'all can go on YouTube and look up Oprah Winfrey News podcast, and y'all can watch the whole thing. It's a 2-hour podcast. But it was interesting to see how many people, especially adult children, have cut off their whole. Some have cut off their whole entire family, parents, siblings, grandparents, just everybody, to regain peace, as they call it, to have their peace within their families. Those that are married, like, they want peace, and that's a lot to cut off. Me personally, I could never see myself cutting off. Like my mother, everybody who know me know I love my mama, and it's nothing that I think she could do to me to make me not speak to her for 15 years or 20 years or ever. And neither my siblings. My siblings are my siblings, and I choose to take them as they are. I may not talk to them on an everyday basis, but I would never not have any type of contact with them. I don't know how people do it. I think that would mentally make me feel like mentally I wouldn't be right in the head, but if I didn't have contact with my family. But so yeah, that's what we're gonna be talking about today. We're gonna be talking about no contact within families. And I was looking up some things, doing a little bit of research. I don't want Sean to be the only one that has research. So
I ain't
we try
researching
to we try to broaden our horizons over here. We don't want Sean to be the only one doing the research. But I did some research, and some of the research did state that it is more, they did it more on a race statistics, and also between mothers and fathers. So what it does say is that it estimates that it's 38% of American adults are currently estranged from at least one of the following: a sibling, a parent, a child, a grandparent, or a grandchild. And it says 1 in 4 Americans report being estranged from an immediate family member, which is around 25 to 27%. It also says that Black adult children are reported to have the highest rate of estrangement from their fathers compared to white and Latino adult children, and the highest they're at 50%. Black Americans are at 50% of having no contact with their fathers, and white people have the highest percentage of no contact with their mothers, which is interesting. Not so interesting because we know how it didn't surprise me. Because then it's going to turn into a whole other different type of discussion. But they said the main reasons why a parent and child, they have estrangement is emotional, physical, or sexual abuse, manipulative behavior, lies or betrayal, or clash of personality and values. And for siblings to be estranged, it is personality conflicts, manipulative behavior, and parental favoritism. Hello, Kamisha. I get it. I can understand that part. We're gonna jump into one video and then we're gonna jump into the topic.
I thought we already jumped into the topic.
Well, we're gonna jump more into the topic. Just roll the video.
That beautiful being footage.
Wow. So that's been my experience. And parents don't go no contact for very small reasons. It takes a lot for a mother to make that conscious choice. And I've been experiencing this for over 15 years since his dad and I got a divorce and I got remarried 18 years ago.
And you have a question?
My question is, why are parents always demonized when they speak their truths or when they make a conscious decision to go no contact, but estranged children are celebrated and rallied behind?
Good question. Who wants to answer that?
If someone was coming in to see me as their therapist, I'm listening for what that person's experience is. And I have had parents come in whose children are asking for money, or they're making the parent feel morally obligated to give them exactly what they want. It's the emotional immaturity switched, okay? I mean, you don't have to be the parent or the adult child to be emotionally immature. And so whatever it is that is crossing the boundary of the relationship or the other person's right to their own life or to their right to say no, I mean, that has to be dealt with every time in order to keep your own stability and mental health. So I see it very much as going both ways. Whoever it is that's going across the boundary and saying, you have to give me what I need because I'm the most important person in the relationship here, in effect.
Mm-mm.
All right now.
That's a good question, though.
It was a good question. Carla T says, I just find no contact with their families and sad. However, sometimes family dynamics can be extremely toxic and people have to protect their peace. The answer is to get healing to avoid this. And I can 100% agree with that. Hello, Kamisha. Welcome to the conversation. And hi, Natasha. We haven't seen you in a very long time. Which I'm going to be seeing as little snippets from the Oprah podcast about it. But that was a good question. Why do y'all think that children are celebrated for having no contact with their family members, but parents that do it, they're demonized? Either one of you can answer first.
Whose topic is it?
It ain't nobody's topic. It's just a topic.
Somebody put it on a calendar.
And I asked the question, so Shonda Derrick can answer it.
Let me add to. I mean, from personal experience. But I would add to it is, you say African Americans, they're more estranged from their father. I thought it made sense. I thought it made sense because 80% of the families, single family households, is women led, right? So the father is out of the household. Now I've witnessed this myself. When there is discrepancies, the father is most likely to a phone call, right? If it's not visitation, if it's not picking the child up, if you don't have the kind of relationship to whereas you can come to the house and, frequent the house or be in the house, you're normally a phone call away. When you have the house, the home dynamic, it's easier for you to continue a relationship because you're in home, right? You're in a home. The child has to come home. Not many times you're going to allow silence in the home. Like ain't nobody ain't like my young daughter is not going to come into my home and not say hello. I'm not going to allow her to come into the home and me ask how was your day? How was school? What's going on outside? What's wrong? Why you look like that? Why you going about your day like that? It's going to be more of a communication factor when you have children in the home. So when you have a parent outside the home, it's easier for the child to not have communication if there is, some type of ordeal that's going on, because all you got to do is just not pick the phone up. So that's the one thing that I would say about that, as far as children that's not in a household with one of the parents. Now, the one thing that can happen is the other parent can encourage the relationship with the parent that's out of the household, depending on how that relationship is. one of the biggest things that I've always noticed is maybe one parent differently than the other parent. Right? They may choose to go about certain things differently. I'm a no nonsense parent. I'm big on respect. I've always told my children, you can be, you could be mad, but you can't be disrespectful. I mean, I give you, your opportunity and your voice, to voice your issues and what's on your mind. But we can't be disrespectful. I understand your passion, but you're not going to raise your voice in disrespect. Something totally different. Passion versus disrespect. Sometimes there's a fine line between the two. Because you can be passionate and raise your voice, and you're passionate and you're elevating, but there's a fine line between when it turns disrespectful and you're just being loud and obnoxious and just going off the hinges. So two different households may parent different. One household may be more strict than the other household. One household may seem more strict than the other household because one household is more lenient and the child don't understand the boundaries that the other parent is setting because, they're allowed to just, fly freely, not understanding that the other parent may deem that or see that as more problematic because of their wisdom in their experiences as well. Where another parent may use the freedom as against the other parent because I allow you to do what you want to do. That parent don't allow you to do what you want to do, so you favor me. Some people use it as, favor. I've seen that as well. I'll allow you to go do that. I'll allow you to wear that. I'll allow you to stay out later. I'll allow you to go to those parties. I'll allow you. With the other parent, it's like, I don't think that that's a good idea. And now you favor one parent over the other. So now I'm mad at that parent. So I ain't going to call them. I'm going to not be, favor. I'm not going to show favor to them because I can't do what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why I said to Derek is I think it's situational when there's a lot to what we're talking about because, there's a lot that goes into this thing. It's a big conversation. I mean, sometimes people view these things from the outside looking in because they may not saying you, Derek, just speaking in general, from the outside looking in because they never dealt with these things, especially if your family dynamic is something different than a household where two parents are, on or are not on the same accord. Now you add in a stepfather, a stepmom, that changes the dynamic as well. I mean, so it's a lot that goes into it. And I think that once you start to have the conversation, you can get an understanding about it. I truly think that, and I mean no harm, but I truly think that, moms get more grace than fathers in this dynamic because dad is outside the home 80% of the time. So if me as mom, I can give to the child, or even if I can have the conversations with the child because I'm more present versus the dad, because dads are normally, the parent that is the disciplinarian or the bad cop anyway, because you ain't gonna wear that dress, it's too short. You ain't gonna wear that shirt, it's too low. You ain't gonna do this, you ain't gonna do that. And let's say if the mom is saying, oh no, I think it's cute, I think this, that, or third. Not all dynamics. You see, Derek, see what I did right there? I took it away from Kyra. Not all the time, of course, not all the time, but it's normally good cop, bad cop. When dad, is maybe viewing certain things to whereas how we see providers and protecting. I protect my daughters in a way when I'm saying maybe you shouldn't be wearing that type of stuff. You know, maybe you shouldn't be going in those type of places at certain times. Maybe you shouldn't be speaking a certain way. I remember a princess being in Virginia when she was in college. And I'll finish with it. She was in college, and I'm on the phone with her, and somebody cut her off, and she's like, this person just cut me off, Dad. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, hold, for one, that's not what we're gonna do. And she's like, why he cut me off? And I'm like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? That grown man just cut you off. What are you gonna do if that man pull in front of you, stop his car, and get out and want to harm you? I'm not there to protect you. Sometimes you just gotta let things be where they be and go about your business. He was like, you know what? I understand that. And that was the thing about, that was a wisdom, move, because I'm teaching her that how could you protect yourself if I'm not there to protect you? And that grown man was to, pull up on you. So protecting goes a long way than just me being there physical. I had to teach her, how to, be more reserved, to not put herself in a position where somebody will maybe be there to harm her, but in other circumstances, men being protectors and giving their children wisdom, they may not like it. They may not like it. And if they don't like it, sometimes they reject it and they distance themselves. I mean, so I can understand the whole point of, when men are not in the home and their words are not favored, they can tend to be alienated and not wanting to be spoken to because I just don't want to hear it. I want to do what I want to do. So I totally understand that.
And just tell it in the studies that in the study that I was reading, it did say that the lower rate of mother estrangement among Black adults may reflect cultural norms that place the mother at the center of the family life, which makes the adult children make it more important for them to lead and keep and maintain that bond despite any conflict, because they feel as though mom holds the family together. So they don't want to have that type of that's why they stay closer to their mothers and their fathers, because of the family dynamic.
Yeah.
Kamisha says, sadly, when my son was having difficulty dealing with his mental diagnosis and going without meds and treatment, I had to go no contact. It was very hard to do, but I had to do it for my own safety and mental health. It's not a decision I came into lightly. I think, I can understand that too. I mean, you have to have, I think parents, when the lady said, oh, why parents are demonized children to celebrate it, I think that parents get a hard way to go, because it's like, okay, you had these kids, these are your children, how can you turn your back on them? How can you do this to them? How can you do that? And I think everybody's situation is different, because everybody's relationship and bond with their children are different. But just because I gave birth to a child does not mean I have to stick around to be disrespected, yelled at, and be in a toxic environment. If you can't learn to respect me as your mother, then, or even as your parent, I don't have to stick around for it. It's not fair to me to be abused.
I see it in two ways though, with the child. Now, if the child is of adult age and they went out into the world and they became what they became, I believe that's one thing. If the child is of young age and their influence and their teaching is from you, you have to hold yourself accountable to how this child is because you raised this child. Now, you probably was very lenient with this child. You probably spoiled this child. You probably, allowed certain behaviors. I've seen certain memes where they thought certain thing was cute, and then once the child took on that certain behavior, then it was, oh my God, how did this happen? So I believe there's a difference between when the child is younger and when a child becomes of adult age, and then they go out in the world and they become something that we don't favor. I think that is a difference there.
It
Because
absolutely is. That's why we talking more about adult children having no contact, despite younger. Because I think when you have younger kids, I got a 16-year-old. How my 16-year-old gonna have no contact when you live in my house and I feed you? It's like
that was my point.
I wish you, like I wish you would.
That was my point of when you're a non-residential parent. Because when you're a non-residential parent, a lot of times, you don't see everything. You don't hear everything.
Right.
And sometimes you don't agree with the residential parent, but the residential parent can pull rank on you because you're not there to see and hear everything that the residential parent is doing and saying. So that's why I said that's a difference when you got 80% of our children population in one home versus the other, because the non-residential parent can't see everything. And it's up to the residential parent to say, hey, I need you to come and talk to him. Because a lot of times what I've always heard is you will hear that as a non-residential parent when things get out of hand.
Yes.
When they get out of hand, you need to come and talk to your son. But by then, the damage is already done.
Yeah, because I understand. I'm to go punch the kid or two. Hey, Mr. Rucker, how you doing? We love you too. I hope all is well with you and your family. Kamisha says parents need to set healthy boundaries as well. Absolutely.
Of course.
I think I absolutely believe that parents should set boundaries when it comes to their children.
But dealing with reality, a lot of times when there's a breakup or when there's a divorce or when there's a separation, not all the time those parents are having a good parenting relationship.
Mm-hmm. And Carla T says, I think oftentimes adult children reflect and carry issues from the past.
Absolutely.
I believe that too. Yeah, that's why they say a lot of these adult children need like therapy and stuff like that, because they carry so much from growing up. They just, now that they grown, they want to lash out and like, I'm grown now, I can say what I want to say and do what I want to do and talk to you any way I want to talk to you because I'm grown.
Which basically goes back to the broken family when that child was younger, because now there's a bunch of issues that this adult child have from when this family, with them being in this family when it was, broken or maybe something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And of course, like I said, like as they get older, they feel as though they can voice their opinions a little bit brighter because they grown now and they feel as though they can say what they want to say. And sometimes as parents, we take that as, you can say what you need to say, but let's not get disrespectful. It's just a way that I feel like we can communicate and you can tell me how you feel and what, and say what you need to say to me that I did to you as a child, but we gonna keep it respectful.
And
'Cause
that's
you
another
just,
dynamic.
yeah,
That's another dynamic when dad come into play. You know what I mean?
mm,
Because I see a lot of children that they feel they can buck up to mom.
yeah.
You know, they
When
can
you
buck
get
up to mom, and then when
outpunched,
dad walk in, it's like, oh, here come the big homie in
listen,
the building. They don't want that sauce. You know, so it's better to keep my distance than to, let's go ahead and sit down because maybe I can talk away with mom, but I can't talk that same way with dad.
yeah, exactly. And two, like for me, I have adult children and I have a younger child. And the way I talk to my older kids is different than how I talk to my younger kid, in the way that my son sees how his older siblings speak compared to how he can speak. Don't get influenced. don't don't think you can puff your chest out too much, because I will put it right back in this please. But sometimes the younger kids can also be badly influenced by adult children with their issues as well, because they
Yeah.
see everything, they hear everything, and they feel like, oh, they can do what I can do it. No, you cannot. Derek, what's your thoughts? You was preaching last week. What's going on this week?
I blame y'all rock. Y'all saying what you're saying. I think Rashawn hit it out the park when we talk about the difference in when you look at your data that you were given. Is the data is I don't want to say it's one sided, but it is understandable because the black male is predominantly out of the household. So when you are taken away from a household, then relationships and bonds and just if I only see you just by routine itself. If I only speak to you on the phone Tuesday and Thursdays, it's a difference in the feel of if we don't get along or if we have a disagreement, it's easier for me not to pick up the phone on Tuesday and Thursday and not talk to you than it is for me when I live with someone and now that routine is they're part of my life. Um, I think that I think that the whole ideal, I think everybody gets hurt in it. Um, more than I think a big piece of it is the people who have to watch the thing go down, especially when it's done on a public forum and things like that. When you have kids who have to get up and they have to get up and make a grandiose announcement of the no contact. Um, and yeah, you have a lot of people who praise that, who will praise them or celebrate them, um, for getting away or for speaking their truth. But adults are not allowed to speak our truth, and that's just period. Like when even as an educator, when you're in they tell you that bullying only happens with children. As an adult, you can't be bullied as an adult, which is very much untrue. You can very much be bullied as an adult, and so a
Yeah.
lot of times children can bully adults because your love for them um, is looked at as a weakness or is utilized as a weakness. I love you and I want you to be okay and I need you to be okay. Um, and we're expected to give that undying love for our children because they came from us, they're part of us. But I do believe, as Kamisha said, that there is a need to set healthy boundaries, and you can't send yourself and stress yourself out. At some point, you have to, as the old folks say, put them in the hands of the Lord, um, and leave it at that, and work and let it work itself out. Um, my dad used to always say, um, "You get hungry enough, you'll eat." And that statement truly clearly means that when you need me enough, you'll break the silence. So yeah, I just feel that uh, I do agree with it's simple. It's simple. It's a simple piece of dads are dads are normally the hammers, right? We're the disciplinarians. We come in, and because of those things, it's easier for disagreement to happen between a parent, between a father and his children, than it is for a mother and his children. Only when the mother is considered the disciplinarian that, but as Sean said, moms get a lot more leeway or a lot more forgiveness than the father.
And grace.
So
I truly believe that. I see it. I actually see it. I witness it.
what?
Well, I wish my mama was like that.
No, but you give your mother. You give your mother grace. You give your mother grace. It's not about your mother having grace. You give your mother grace. Where sometimes it's easy.
Sometimes.
More times, a mom can tell you, like, even if you think about you with your older ones, right? You can tell them what you're
Anybody
gonna do.
wanna?
You can tell them what you're gonna do to them. You can hem them up. You could put them in their place and go in your room, and in 20, 30 minutes they come into the room. They laying on top of you, they kissing you. But their father could do the same exact thing, and
Not even.
it'll be 2 to 3 weeks before they have a conversation.
Yeah. I've seen it. I've witnessed it. I've been it.
Right. I about to say the same thing. I'm going through it right now. My oldest son, um, unfortunately, decided he wanted to move out. Haven't had conversation. Don't He'll walk past for a while. He'll walk past me, not say a word. Not because of anything crazy that was done to him, but the fact that I'm gonna hold my children accountable for their actions, because that's how you produce a healthy adult. And when you don't want to be held accountable, you tend to go where that accountability is going to be a little more. You're gonna that's to me, and it's not a bad thing. Some people, mothers have nurturing their nurturing qualities. Um, if there's not a healthy balance, those nurturing qualities can turn into a, incubator of unaccountability.
Yeah.
Mhm. That is definitely a truth. I mean, everybody got to be held accountable. Like, like I said, we all go through our ups and downs with our parents. I know, like when I was older and I started having kids, and my mother used to piss me off. My dad, that's my dog. He used to be the first one calling my phone, like, y'all need to cut this nonsense out because me and my mother is like two peas in a pod. We both stubborn. So you don't want to talk to me, I ain't gonna talk to you. But he looked at it like, okay, if she ain't talking to her mother, she ain't gonna let these kids come over here. And my dad wasn't trying to hear not seeing his grandkids. So my mother mentality is, you gonna need me before I need you. So no, I ain't calling you, and I ain't apologizing for nothing. But
I think.
then,
I'm sorry.
oh no, I was just gonna say, but me talking so when my dad would call me, he'd be like, listen, I know how y'all is, whatever, but you got to be the bigger person and just say sorry to your mother and kumbaya, because they felt like I was going to use my kids as like a um a bargaining chip. Oh, you don't want to talk to me? You can't see my kids. I ain't like that. I would never keep my kids from my parents. I just won't talk to you. But that's how he felt. because he thought I wasn't gonna come to the house because I was mad at my mother. But I always give in, and it's like with my mom, you have to be the one to say sorry. My mama ain't saying sorry for nothing, and she gonna be like that to the day she die. So it just is what it is. That's it. I should just accept her for who she is, and that's it.
I think along with that, I think the whole thing with dads is, it's about like the whole thing about love and respect. You know what I mean? Like dads are, it's a thing of respect.
Mhm.
I'm all about respect. I mean, I ain't worrying about any of that. I can care less. We're gonna have respect. You know what I mean? We're gonna have respect. Appreciation. So we project that in the family dynamic. We project that in the family dynamic. You're gonna respect your mom, and you're gonna appreciate her. That's where the whole, tell your mom the food is good. Tell your mother thank you. Tell your mother that's appreciation. Respect. You ain't never gonna raise your voice at your mother. You ain't never gonna talk a certain way to your mother. And I don't care if I don't like their mom or not. I mean, you can ask my children. You ain't never gonna disrespect your mother. It's just not gonna happen. Because I'm a man of respect. You ain't gotta drop no gifts off. You ain't gotta. We're gonna have some respect here, no matter what. We're gonna be respectful. Like I said earlier in the show, I've always told my kids, you can be upset, but you can't be disrespectful. It's not what we're gonna do. I mean, my kids, you can not talk to me. Hey, you're grown. And like Derek said, you'll eat when it's time for you to eat when you get hungry. Eventually you're gonna need that wisdom. You're gonna need that knowledge. You're gonna need that understanding. You're gonna hit the wall. Everything that you've done in life, I've done. Maybe not all. I mean, depending on what kind of kid you is. You know what I mean? But you get my point. You've never been where I am. You know what I mean? So when you need that talk, when you need that phone call, when you need that door open, when you need that opportunity, I may be able to make that call and open those doors. So not even just that, just to have a conversation, just to sit down and put some things in perspective. Just to put some things in perspective and just to give you some wisdom to get you through some things that that you're going through. I mean, but at the end of the day, respect is going to be at the top of that list. Appreciation is something that comes from you. I'm big on appreciation. I'm huge on respect and appreciation. Because somebody don't have to do for you what they do for you. They don't have to do it. So at least appreciate that somebody is willing to take from themselves to add to you without the benefit of themselves. So appreciate that. As far as respect, I'm never going to tolerate disrespect. Never going to tolerate it. I mean, but I always feel like when you're the non-residential parent, it gives you that whole thing to whereas I don't have to call them. I don't have to speak to them because it's just a phone call. But when you got to walk in my home every day, it makes a huge difference because you walk into my home, hey, how was school? How's everything going? Whether if I'm upset with you or not. When you're going through the ills of life, somebody just tapped the car, something just happened, something is wrong, I gotta speak to that residential parent. I don't have to call the non-residential parent. Besides, if I need money, if I need some conversation, or something, an obligation that needs to be fulfilled, I don't have to call that other parent.
Yeah.
No, that's just the thing.
Derek, play one of the other videos, preferably the one with the black guy.
Help, of course. So she calls me. Dad, can you help me? I'm enrolling in college again. Okay, cool. I was just happy to hear her voice.
Yeah.
So I haven't heard from her in so long. So she came over, we talked, and that's when she told me, she said, Dad, you're a helicopter parent. And I'm looking, and I'm gonna tell
So you were
something.
willing to help her even though she hadn't spoken to you all these
Oh
years?
yeah, that's my baby.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna help you as long as I'm living. So then after the conversation, I said, well, how can we work on our relationship? What can we do? She said, I'll tell you what we can do. We can go to therapy. As a man, I did not want to go to therapy. I'm gonna be real with y'all today. I didn't want to go and be vulnerable to somebody that I don't know. So went to therapy because I wanted to get my baby back. So I went to therapy. The therapist told me, she said, listen, Aaron, what you got to do, and you got to understand, you have to parent your children at different stages differently. You're still trying to control her like she's a teenager. You're still trying to do too much like she's a teenager.
I felt that. I felt that, like, deeply. I did.
Okay. And for those, let me just, before you start, Sean, for those who want to know what a helicopter parent is, the definition of a helicopter parent is a parent who is overly involved in the life of their child, often to an extent that is excessive, restrictive, or developmentally inappropriate. They get their name because they are seen as hovering over them, constantly monitoring and controlling their child's experience. Now go ahead, Sean. I just wanted to define what a helicopter parent was.
And that's good. I've never heard that. That was my first time hearing it. I wasn't even going to speak to that point. I was going to speak to that point of sometimes you have to back up. Sometimes you have to throw your hands up at a point, not, totally, but, you can be looked at as the parent that's being taken advantage of because you want to be liked, because you want to be in the situation or in the whatever. And, you're the phone call for, the dollar, the thing, the product, the gift, the whatever. And I felt that because I've recently looked at it to whereas, I gotta take a step back. Because I don't want even parent to child can be transactional, just transactional. Let me add that, just transaction. I've seen that, not for myself, but I've seen that with other parents to whereas, kids play parents against each other. And, because they know that the one parent wants to be a part of their life, they use transactions, to be a part of that other parent's life. And the other parent understands that, so they'll do anything and buy anything and give anything just to be a part of that child's life. Just to have that, any type of connection. I'm going to do whatever I can. And sometimes that's just not the best thing to do. Because that child could use you for their benefit, not for the parental, relationship. I'm using you to get what I want. I don't even like you, but I'm going to go ahead and get everything that I can from you because I know that you just want to be a part of whatever this is over here. I've seen that, and it's so sad when children act that way because they know that the parent loves them and wants to be a part of their life, but they use that to get everything that they want. Because they know that that parent is going to do whatever they can to give them whatever they want to give them just to be a part of their life.
Yeah. It's manipulation.
Yes, very much manipulation. And like I've seen it like recently, like I got a 28-year-old, you know, whereas I try to have the conversations, I try to, you know, and he's a good dude, he's a good kid, but you know, sometimes pulling back away from that. You know, sometimes you have to let your kids grow up. You have to allow them to grow up. Sometimes they're gonna stumble, sometimes they're gonna fumble, sometimes they're gonna fall. And you gotta allow them to do that. Because if you don't allow them to do that, and you just become the crutch. How are they ever gonna learn how to maneuver through this thing called life?
Yeah. And they always throw they always throw these different parenting wordage for, you know, these modern day kids, for these Gen X children. My God. They have all these terms of different type of parenting. And you know, you have the free range parenting, which is the parent that prioritizes their children to have independence and self-resilience, so they don't need so much adult intervention. They make them solve their own problems. They don't rush to their child every time something goes wrong, and all of that stuff is what they call a free range parent. Because they're trying to show them independence. And then you have as they call it, the lawnmower parent, who is that parent that guards their child from the world. They don't know how, they have no difficulties in their life because they have that parent that always intervenes and makes sure that everything is good for them. And that is that. So when they become adults, they suck at being adults. And I think that's where you get that entitled child from, which causes some kids to not want to talk to mom and dad, because as soon as mom and dad is no longer there to help you get out of your issues or your problems, it's like, oh, I don't want to talk to you no more because you forgot about me. You didn't do this for me. You didn't do that for me. And it's like, okay, you grown as hell. How like, when you gonna do it for yourself?
Yeah, I'm not.
So they
I'm
have
not
a whole
doing,
bunch of.
yeah, I'm not doing all of that though. All of these different type of parenting and this and that. I'm not. Look, do what you got to do. Handle what you got to handle. We can have the conversations. We can come up with the game plans. You know, all of those different things. Like it's all these terms and words and all that is becoming too much.
Yeah, that's for these Gen X generational children. And when you go into therapy, you know, your therapist is throwing all these different type of parenting words at you, like, okay, well, so you're this type of parent, and it's like, no, I'm just a parent.
Yeah,
I'm just a parent trying to parent my kid. But I know that's something, because I do have grown kids, and like I said, I have 2 grown kids, and I have one younger child. But I'm different with my kids. I'm not like how I was raised. I'm a tad bit different than my mama. And because my kids are grown, and I've been doing this for my kids ever since they were younger, is that I have my own personal conversations with my children, where we either go out or we just sit and we have a conversation. And the conversation is basically, as they get older, the older they get, as they get older, is just me saying, okay, what do you need? What do you need from me at this stage in your life? because what I'm not gonna sit up here and do is still treat you like you are my 12 or my 10-year-old child, because you're not 10 or 12 years old. You're grown. So what do you
Yeah.
need from me?
Yes.
What do you need from me right now? You know, and vice versa. What in it, you know? And I ask them, you know, questions like that, like, and what is it like? Is it things about me that I need to change in order for us to still continue to be peaceful with each other and still have a good relationship with my children? But I'm not gonna treat you like my 10, 12-year old once you are in your 20s. So what do you need from me? And whatever they tell me they need from me is what they're gonna get from me.
If you can provide it.
Yeah, if I can provide it. Hopefully it's not my, hopefully it ain't money. But other than that, I got you. No, but you know, you do what you can do. But it's just nice to know what they need in the moment and to hear what the things, and that's how we get into other different conversations of things that are going on in their lives. That I don't tell them what to do. They grown. They get into their own relationships. You got to do. I listen to you. I don't tell you my whole true feelings about things, but I'm gonna listen to you, because at the end of the day, this you. You gotta get your battle wounds the same way I got mine. You gotta by living and learning. That's
And
it.
I think it's very, like, especially with non-residential parents, you know, and I can speak on it because I've been a non-residential parent forever, right? And when you're trying to do the right thing, right? When you've paid the child support, when you've had the visitation, you know, when you've dealt with the negativity, when you've dealt with, you know, the restraining orders and you know, getting locked up for whatever reasons, you know, not because of you and because of things that you do, like all of these different things. When you spent the money, you spent the time, you spent the energy, you spent the emotions, you spent all of these different things. I mean, and then when the children become older and they have these, you know, issues and these things on their chests, and you done exhausted all of, you know, a lot that you've had, and then now they're older and they got this damage, you know, from when they were younger that wasn't even in your hands, you know, because you wasn't even, you know, the residential parent. Not saying that you couldn't contribute, but you know, now you gotta have that fight and get exhausting to a lot of people. Especially when you have, you know, a very, very disrespectful, negative, you know, residential parent that had an agenda that didn't work to their best, you know, to what they thought was best for them, you know, and now the child is just, you know, have some issues, not from you, but from the situation. And now you have to go through this thing as the child is an adult, which is a continuation of, you know, everything that you already went through. It gets exhausting. And as a parent, you know, you do your best and you do what you can do, but it's sad when you're not the residential parent and you still have to go through all of this stuff. And like I said, the mom or the residential parent gets the grace and you don't, and you still have to have this fight. Trust me, it's mind-boggling, and it's very, very exhausting. It's very
I bet it is.
it's
But
very exhausting.
our hour is almost up. So in our research, in my research, it gives you strategies to reconcile with your children if you are establishing, or if you're trying to get your relationship back with your child. What it says is you have to rethink your motivation, to prioritize your relationship instead of being right. Um, it says the goal is to restore the connection, not to defend your past actions or to convince the other person that their memories and feelings are wrong. This requires humility and letting go of defensiveness. It says to check your intent. If you are reaching out because you are genuinely missing the person, or is it driven by guilt, shame, family pressure, or to gain access to grandchildren? If the motivation is purely external or self-serving, to reconcile attempts are unlikely to succeed. Prioritize your safety. If the relationship involved any physical or severe emotional abuse, it may not be healthy or a safe option, and your focus should shift to healthy coping boundaries. Um, it says reflect and take ownership, acknowledge the pain. To truly reconcile often begins with genuine acknowledgement of the other person's experience and the pain they suffer, regardless of whether you agree with their narrative. Own your part, and sometimes you have to seek a third party that is non-biased, like a therapist or a mediator that can help facilitate a healthy decision, especially when both parties have different memories of events. Um, and then it says rebuild with boundaries, accept new terms. If the estranged family member agrees to resume contact, you must be prepared to accept and respect new boundaries. This can go from communication to off-limit topics or limited frequency of contact. Let go of the control. Parents in particular must transition from a parental role to an adult to adult relationship, affirming the adult child's choices and right to live their own life without judgment. Start small, reconnect. Doesn't mean immediately becoming best friends. It might start with a brief neutral meeting in a public place or a card for a birthday. So those are some tips if you want to reconnect with your parent or child that you don't have contact with. And on that note, we do appreciate everybody that participated in the conversation. Thank you to some of our old co-hosts that we had, Natasha and Justin, for taking a peek in and joining the conversation. We appreciate you guys. We miss you. I love you, Tasha. I see you on TikTok all the time. And to Kamisha for joining the conversation and telling your truth about your situation. So we do thank y'all for coming to join us tonight. And just know that even though sometimes people say, oh, it's easier not to talk to somebody, I think it's kind of harder to not have contact with your child or with your parents. So try your best if you can to rebuild your relationships with your family, because family sometimes is everything, and we need them regardless whether we really want to admit it or not. We do need our family. We need that support in our lives, but only if it's going to be something healthy and something that everybody can live with. You guys got anything to say before we get up out of here?
I'll say how I always say, always in the show. Fuck them kids.
Oh. Look, he said fuck them kids and disconnected himself. Oh, God. Absolutely, Tasha. Life is definitely too short. Debbie, you got anything you wanna say before you before we get out of here. Look at you. You done disconnected your damn self.
I meant to do that.
You did it on purpose. This Saturday at Camp YDP, we are having our first holiday bake-off. Bragging rights for the best. The bragging rights are up. So come on out. It's at 3. It starts at 3:00. Come on out and taste some of Patterson's tastiest creations. All coming out to say to prove that they're the best. Right now, I think we have 4 banana pudding makers who all claim they're the best. Well, 3 who claim they're the best and 1 who is the best.
I'm gonna assume that would be Derek.
So you got 3 people who finally gonna get placed on notice that they're not the best anymore, and 1 person will be confirmed what he's been saying this whole time. But come on out. We have a good number of participants who they are some of Patterson's better off bakers. When I've tried their stuff, it is stuff that you say, oh yeah, this is pretty good. So come on out.
Location.
I said Camp YDP.
The streets. Everybody don't know what Camp YDP is.
That's what we got GPS for. 1214 North 1st Street. Doors open at 3:00. Tickets are just $5. Come on and get diabetes for $5. All proceeds go to Camp YDP's a new club initiatives. We are rolling out. We're bringing back home economics for our campers as one of the. So all the fun, everything goes directly. You know how you have these different organizations and the money goes into this big pot and it don't ever reach the kids. This one is going directly to the kids. It's going directly to the programs that are being rolled out to benefit them for the 2026 2027 season. So if you are not doing anything, even if you are, pop by, come support the bakers, come support. There will be vendors there. I think there will also, some of the bakers will be there selling extras of what they're losing dishes. So so if you want to bring home what losing tastes like, come on down. You can pick it up and taste it, and you understand why they lost later on in the middle of the night. All right. So it's at Camp YDP this Saturday, December 13th at 3:00, 1214 North 1st Street. Doors open at 3:00. It goes to a good cause. There's no cash prize. These bakers understand they're supporting our youth. They're supporting our kids, and I can't thank them enough.
All righty. All right, everybody. Natasha said that she can't make it, but she would love to donate.
And if you don't mind, Derek, I will be there after the event. We're also having a quarter zip sweater brunch for some young men in the city at Grace Gospel Church. Young men that do a lot of community service in the city, and they was asking if we can donate some quarter zips, and I told them that we can do a lot better, which we created a brunch, which we will have a lot of men from the city gift these young men and, give some words of encouragement. There's also going to be suits given to these young men, ties and bow ties, teaching them how to tie their ties and their bow ties. along with sitting down, having conversations about, the future and things that, they are actually going through in life. That's going to be on the same day, but earlier in the day is going to be 11 to 2. And then we'll be heading over to Derek is, and that's going to be at Gospel Church on Montgomery Street. Next week, December 17th, is going to be the Patterson Fire Department and Bronze Heat Christmas Motorcade. If you're not familiar with it, is the time where you see a lot of fire trucks and police cars and other cars that's accompanying us drive through the city, dropping off toys to whatever organizations or individuals that we choose. This year we chose my liking, women and children's shelters. It's my hashtag moving forward is protect Black women at all costs. So a lot that you see is going to be going here more to protect the Black women and our community and beyond. So this year is going to be donating and delivering toys to women and children's shelters and helping, adding to that, helping with whatever those women got going on. After after that, on the same day, there will be, as we always do, the motorcade will end at the Patterson Free Public Library on Broadway, where the director Corey Fleming normally have a Christmas movie night, and then Santa, which is riding on the fire truck, is going to end up at the library to give gifts away to the children of the Patterson Free Public Library. The last thing I would add to my spiel is on Christmas Day, the Vera Ames Foundation is going to be having her annual Christmas dinner, free to the public. There's going to be a lot going on there. There's going to be free food, family, friends, music, toys, gifts, clothes, whatever else. So that's going to be at the Integrity Lodge, the Masonic Temple, 224 Broadway. On Christmas, it's going to be dinner is going to start at with food is going to start to be served at 1 o'clock. Doors will open earlier than that, so you can get there 11, 12 o'clock, but food will start to be served at 1 o'clock on the dot. So that's my spiel on our Christmas list of things that we'll be doing.
All right. Natasha said that she lives for charity, so y'all to keep her in mind, because she will happily give help to your charities and whatever help you may need. So if y'all don't have her contact stuff, I do, and I'll give it to you guys. Derek should still have Tasha's contact stuff. And Carla T just asked if y'all have a route map.
I will be putting it out as we normally do a couple days before the actual event. What we're doing now, we're putting together, we're getting all of the shelters that want to be involved. We have the majority of the women's shelters that already sent their wish list. One of the shelters that just for conversation, one of the shelters that was in Patterson had to move to Morristown. So because of something that happened in the building, I think it was either a fire or a flood or something. So they're looking for another building. So we have to, it's not a thing where you just go out. We have police with us. DPW knows the route, so we can actually, have a police escort to take the fire trucks throughout the city. So we have to know, exactly where we're going before the date. Because it's at rush hour. So to not make traffic as complicated as we already going to make it, we try to go ahead and create a route that's not going to, put the city in more of an issues than we already have when it comes to the traffic situation. So couple days before that, I'll be putting something out. Carl, I'll reach out to you personally. You can hit me on the inbox the day before or 2 days before, and I'll give you the list of the shelters that we're going to go to, so you can know exactly the route that we're going. I know the first place we're going is going to be headquarters around Brook Slope area, Chamberlain Ave. Then we're going to go down to the rooftop shelter, which is on North 3rd. So I know that that's going to be the first. So we're going to go around headquarters, which is 300 McBride Ave, Patterson, go over Glover Street Bridge, go over to Chamberlain Ave, around by Brook Slope, down to North 3rd, and they're going to take it from there. So after that,
right.
you guys know.
So everybody knows, Patterson, if you ain't doing nothing, go out and support these great charities. Y'all don't get diabetes going to the Bake Off, but do go participate, have a good time, and y'all let me know how to brag and who gets the bragging rights. Is it really going to be Derek to get the bragging rights?
No. Okay, you have already experienced, so you already know what it is. Cut it out.
I tasted your food, but that don't mean you the king of kings, okay?
No, there's only one king.
Hold up, wait. Bake foods, not food. When it comes to food, we already know who the king is.
Oh, Lord have mercy. These are men. And on that note, we thank y'all once again for joining the conversation tonight. We will see y'all next Tuesday, same time, same place as we always do. Love y'all. Thank y'all. Good night. Love, peace, and blessings, everybody.